Hi, all of you. In today's session, we are going to understand what is the importance of think twice, act once. We are thinking beings. What it means? We know what thinking is all about. Thinking is what running for our body is. For example, if we say while we are running, our body is getting fit, healthy, and our body becoming strong, our endurance levels will be improved. The same way, when we are thinking, the mental muscles, which are not visible because we cannot see what the thoughts are, but it is most important activity than running because we are paid more, we are getting more beneficial results. In today's world, we are paid to those people who are more intelligent. It means what? The intelligence is all about thinking process. So this thinking process, the thought power, is all about running what meant for physical body. So this mindset, this thought process is very important. So thinking, we are most probably what we are doing daily. We are doing a lot of physical activity. For example, if we say we are watching and getting lot of information from outside, it is like what we are taking inside our stomachs. It is like ingestion of food. It is like injection of information which is happening into our mind. So if we don't filter out this information, like we are to filter out what is junk, what is nutritious food, what is not. So how can we filter this thing? That is why thinking twice is important. So most of us are got trapped in the activity trap. This is, we think successful people are those who are always doing something or other. It's not like that. If you are sitting idly, that doesn't mean that you are not doing any activity. The most important activity as we are thinking beings is thinking. So thinking means it's not can't be seen while you are sitting idly. You might thinking of very what's what's your goals, what's your future projects for your future challenges and all these things, and you might think how can I overcome this particular challenge, how can I grow out of it, what resources I have, what can I do, or how can I utilize these things, what needs to be done further. So when you are very much clear about this, then only you can act wisely, intelligently. But most of us don't utilize this thinking power. We are got trapped in the activity trap. We are always doing something or other, watching something. We are taking a lot of information without any discrimination. That discrimination is to be done. That discrimination is only happened when we think twice. So thinking, we have to give some time for the next activity to go ahead after coming from duty or after completion of your duty. When you are before coming to your home in the transit, you must think, at least you must think of what I am going to do in the home, so that your mind will be very much clear and will be committed to the activity which you are going to do. It's all about 80-20% rule. When you are doing only 20% of your things, that's more important. So you have to discriminate, you have to be so selective about what's that 20% That 20% will be decided by only when you apply your mind, that is thinking. So that application is very essential in today's world where we are bombarded with lot of information. It's highly impossible, it's very much difficult for all of us to think, to actually to stop taking information. We are always somehow from or the other, because of your today's information technology, we are so much accustomed to taking a lot of information without implementation, just because we are not using our brains, we are not implementing, or we are not using that thought process. So this information is so much, this information is taking of information is not important. It is about what information we need to take to, so that we can further process them, then we can implement them. So this thought thinking is all about integrating that information into our system, into our mental system, so that that output, that action will come out from that judicious action, that wise action, that effective, that's called what about effective intelligence. So we need to be taking right decisions for the right implementation. So that decision making is very important, for which we need to take the right information, for which we need to think twice before taking anything, any input, or before. That's why. So it's not always take information, but we have to give ample amount of time to be able to understand what's important, what is not. So we must be, first and foremost thing in this regard is to understand what's our dreams and goals are. We have a lot of things on our platter, but we have to very much critical about what is the thing which you need and what is not. Till you are very clear about that thing, you should not got trapped by this activity culture, by seeing here and there. So if you want to utilize your senses, that sensory input is to be curtailed, is to be strictly curtailed. Otherwise this sensory information will actually stop your uh, inner thought power. So you can't implement, you can't be very clear about what needs to be done. And another thing which is very important, you must give 80% of your that thing, which are almost all junk, which don't give you information, which don't give you the right, which is not right for you to be more effective. Those things, it must be curtailed, those things must be stopped by strengthening this 20 percentage of all things. So must be this 20 percentage of things is to be well imagined, well thought about, and that, so that we must be understood what is so important, and we are always clear about this. Initially this process might be not easy, means it might be tedious, it might be not good thing, it might be something like, most of the people, after habituated to taking a lot of information, and they think, okay, what's the use of having this wi-fi connection, what is the use of having these all things. And in that sense they got trapped. They think, okay, we have money, we have time and everything at our disposal, so we will consume it, we will use it, we will spend it, so that we will take a lot of information, we can do all these things at the, which gives you temporary pleasure, but ultimately leads to unclutter. It's all about cluttering of our mind and body, which is going to be toxic in the future, which is going to be very much toxic for our health, as mental as well as physical. So that's why when you are this thing, that's why it's all about having that monk mindset. Monks don't caught up in the activity trap, they follow the meditations. Meditation is all about improving the mind, improving the thought process. It's all about the focus. It's Your focus will be so much leisure like. So that's the focus. which actually needs to be there, for which you must be very much utilize this time and all these things. Thinking is fuels our productivity. Thinking fuels our value. So whatever value we have to add to our lives, that's that's a basic thing which as a human being we want always add value to the things. So the improvement happens, that growth will happens through this thinking process. So it's not about running only, which you are always thinking, which is not about physical activity only, it's all about mental activity, which we not do it because of we are always in the mode of taking consumption, using our input uh, without having that input, implementing that input. That's going to be wasted, that time is wasted, that mental power is wasted, because that not going to help you anyhow. So don't be trapped by this consumer mentality. You'll always this creative mentality. So visualize, imagine most for the future, what's going to be done, what is the most critical activity to be taken, what is the most highly important task which I can do by utilizing that 80 percentage of my time for this activity. If I utilize this also, I feel motivated. So you don't need to be fast in this sense. You must give time, enough time for every activity to be taken, whatever activity it might be, because once you act, once you got trapped in that activity, it's very much difficult for us until unless there is some external force as per Newton's second law of motion. When we are get trapped in that first any activity, it's very much that until external pressure or force is applied on us, we can't be out of that activity. So think before you act, before trapped into that activity trap. So that's why I'm saying think twice before taking any action. Thank you so much.